Assuming you're in a relationship with this person,
Mm.
you've never contributed to the bills?
But it just would look crazy as hell if you sit over there talking about, hey, let's go out to eat, and we go out to eat, and then next thing you know, you talking about, nah, we splitting it. I mean, that don't feel manly to me. So it is not about really the situation, how it's handled that make me be like, ew, I don't want to be a part of any of that.
Why would you not want to respect a man that want to save money? Like,
I never said I didn't respect him. He just ain't finna be talking to me. He said, fuck, you can go
wow.
talk to them. I mean, what the fuck? Why would I be paying 50-50 with somebody when I got Jack over here that's willing to give me 100? I'm
Damn.
gonna turn around and turn to Jack. I think as a man, he's gonna make sure I'm straight, and then if it comes to whatever situation where he need me, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? For however long it gotta be. But am I just walking into something talking about 50-50? Hell no. But I'm gonna make sure somebody I care about, anybody, is straight.
So you're not gonna do 50-50. Okay. For all the people who do the like have an issue with, let's just say 50-50 relationships. If you're not gonna do 50-50, what are you willing to do? And I ask that question because in practical application, what it looks like you're willing to do is the bare minimum. And that's not just in the financial part of the relationship. See, we've seen men who pay 100% of the bills, but guess what she wants him to be? You need to be more romantic. You at home, you figure out the romantic stuff. See, that's not really 50-50. Just like the other aspect of it is, I don't want to pay no bills. Wow. What about the bills you create? What about those? Do you pay the bills that you create? And what about debts? Well, you're not going to go 50-50, or you're paying down your debts. And people like to play that game where, and it's true, and it's true. If a man is paying 100% of the bills and he was paying 100% of the bills before he met you, your bills, if it's in a house situation, it really doesn't matter. If but when you come along, you might add a little bit to the electricity bill. That's a true statement. Here's the thing, though. You wasn't homeless when y'all met, though. So now what you doing? Because a lot of this 50-50 conversation some really doesn't address. So he's supposed to be out for us, and you're supposed to be out for self. That becomes the issue, and y'all don't address that. It's like, what do you mean I'm out for self? You don't do nothing for these guys when they paying 100 and you just what you doing? Nothing. I cook. Cool, cool. You cook. Cool, cool. Right. As I said, bare minimum. You might cook. Some of y'all cook clean. You know, cool. Watch this. You should cut the grass. I mean, you home. You should edge the yard. You home. You should do the yard work. You home. And people go, what? Now, there are mothers who are taking care of kids. That's a different story, just for the record. But what you have is a society at this particular point where you got single women who don't have kids, who want somebody to pay all the bills for what? And they just pocket their paycheck. Then you have, and I'm gonna say this in general. Women aren't actually giving. I, every time y'all give something, I ain't gonna say well, stereotypically, when y'all give something, what is it? You're not cheerful givers. You don't give and be like, oh, because I love you. No, you give and you're resentful. I did this for you. And it's like, shut up. Because you don't want to do 50-50. Oh, okay. And the reason I bring this up is because it's a reason why, excuse me, the relationship topic is still a topic. And one of the major reasons is because of selfishness. Okay, you don't want to pay bills. Oh, okay. Okay. But you want to go out to eat. You want to go on date night. What the fuck are you doing with your money? If because he got to pay for date night too, right? I want to go here. I want to go there. And y'all on this dumb shit. I want to go on trips and I want to go on vacation. I want to travel. Oh, but you're not paying for it though. Because he's a man. So what the fuck is your money going to? And I say that to say this. We're at a point where too many of you ladies think it's a normal thing to get with a man and he really does the heavy lifting and you get to play around with your life because he's taking care of all the responsibilities. That's why you have, women 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s who, if they meet when they meet a man and he does everything, she is, you know what? Now I'm gonna, I'm just gonna invest and I'm gonna start my business and I'm gonna take some me time. And it's like, oh, you think this is just an opportunity I'm working on being my best self while somebody else doing all the heavy lifting. And that's what you think a relationship is. And I'm gonna say this because it's necessary. Y'all don't realize this, but your selfishness is why your plans fall through a lot of times. Your selfishness is why you fail at the end of the day. Because in essence, you're a taker looking for somebody to give you the easiest life possible while you take advantage of that. And then and that mentality goes into your investment strategy. And guess what? You invest in you and then you get wiped out because you're fucking greedy. Let me start my business. Your business don't work normally because you're fucking greedy. And when I mean greedy is you want to put the least amount of effort in and get a maximum result. So you take that from relationships to your approach on life. And if somebody does that for you, instead of being grateful and thankful, generally you get arrogant. Generally you get entitled. Generally. And that's why you see a plethora of women on social media selling softcore porn on their pages because I don't want to work anymore. I want to. That's why you saw the influx of people who figured out, I'll have an OnlyFans. Okay, y'all ain't learned the lesson. The strip club ain't popping now, so your OnlyFans might be popping. Whatever. A lot of this 50-50 stuff. Um, I don't think I don't think men generally have an issue with paying all the bills. Generally. But what I do think we have an issue with is you ladies wasting time and money while we're paying all the bills. And that's generally what y'all do. Generally. Y'all waste time, y'all waste money, y'all just go off in a la la land. And then at some point these relationships end and now you're a fucking victim. You're back to square one and you don't know how to operate in life. And it's like, shit, you didn't participate in this relationship. You should have a gang of money saved up and all your new prospects. What's the issue? Because generally, since you're not invested, and I'm not going to say if a man's paying 100% paying the bills, you're not invested in a relationship because there are women who are. But the majority of women aren't invested in a relationship when a man's paying most of all of the bills. Y'all invested in the stability. You're not invested in a relationship. And when a relationship ends, that's why, because a lot of y'all are just bad with money, that's why you wind up starting from scratch. That's why you wind up in a fucked up situation. Because you know some of y'all used to do this. Y'all get with a man and y'all planning for the future, so you're saving money for your exit strategy. And usually you had an exit strategy when you met the guy because you really didn't fuck with him no way. You just was using him, and now you want to play like you the victim on the way out. Because if he figured out that you using him, he gonna cuss you the fuck out, and then all of a sudden, I was in an abusive relationship. That type of stuff. Stop using people. And I say that because you know, it doesn't feel. Women don't take women generally nowadays don't take pride in taking care of their man. Y'all generally gonna lose your man to another woman or the streets because you don't put much effort into these relationships. Your idea of what a relationship is, he does all the heavy lifting and I just coast because that's how life is supposed to be. And at the end of the day, he's gonna resent that shit and find somebody else. But that's just my 2 cents. Tell me what you think. Catch you on the next one. Peace.